Good evening, parents. Mrs. P here again for my third and final video of the evening. And tonight, the last one is about simplifying fractions. Now, I don't really call this simplifying fractions. What I'm about to show you is what I tell the kids is cross-reducing. They may call it cross-simplifying. It correlates to them finding an answer to a multiplication or a division problem involving fractions and not having to simplify once they get out here, because sometimes we tend to forget that. And simplifying is just putting a fraction into its lowest term. So I'm going to show you what I do in the classroom called cross-reducing. As earlier I mentioned, to multiply fractions, students just go straight across. So they'll go 5 times 4 is 20, and then they'll do 8 times 10 is 80. Now what happens is when students get out here, they can simplify. But if students don't know what numbers go into the numerator and the denominator that are alike, they just leave it like this. And then what happens with me is I count it wrong because it's not in simplest form. So what I have the students do is a thing known as cross-simplifying, cross-reducing. And I'm going to write it right in here. I call it cross-reducing. Now, students wonder, how do you get to do this? Because cross-reducing means that I'm going to look at this numerator and that denominator, and I'm going to see if there's anything they have in common, any factor that they have in common. And then I'm going to take this numerator to that denominator and see if they have any factor in common. And if they do, I'm going to simplify them up front. I'm not going to wait till the end. Now, this is where students ask me, why do you get to do that? And I let them know there's a property called a commutative property. And that says with multiplication and addition, you can switch spots and still get the same answer. Such as 9 plus 5 is 14. Well, 5 plus 9 is still 14. Just because I switched their spots doesn't mean they give me a different answer. It's the same with 7 times 6 is 42. And 6 times 7 is 42. So, why do we get to cross-reduce? Because if I were to switch these numerators or denominators around, 5 eighths, instead, I'm going to say it's 4 eighths times 5 tenths. No matter what, I'm going to get the same answer, even if I switch the numerators and the denominators around. The only thing I can't do is I can't make a denominator a numerator or a numerator a denominator. I've got to switch here horizontally, not vertically. But if I look at this, 4 times 5 is 20, and 8 times 10 is 80. That's the same answer I got up here. But if kids forget to simplify, they need to do it sooner. So it's the same if I now can cross-reduce. Those fractions still gave me the same product. So instead of waiting to the end, I'm going to do it up front. And I noticed something between 4 and 8. I know 4 goes into 4 once, and I know 4 will go into 8 twice. They have a common factor. I also know 5 and 10 have a common factor. 5 will go into 5 once, and 5 will go into 10 twice. Now, those are in simplest terms. So I can go 1 times 1 equals 1, and 2 times 2 equals 4. And that's what 20/80 really is in simplest form. But the kids didn't have to come out here and wait to divide bigger numbers and forget what number goes into them, and then they end up getting it wrong. So that's what cross-reducing is. It's not a butterfly method. Don't let them butterfly anything on you when they're multiplying fractions. That comes later with proportions. This is called cross-reducing. And they can do it with division as well. If you remember the rule from earlier, the reciprocal rule, keep, switch, flip. I'm going to keep 3 tenths, switch division to multiplication. I'm going to flip my second fraction, 18 over 15, and I'm going to simplify. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 15 5 times. Both of these have a factor that is in common, known as 2. 2 into 10 goes 5. 2 into 18 goes 9. 1 times 9 is 9. 5 times 5 is 25. And that is now in simplest terms. And I don't have to try to do 3 times 18 or 10 times 15, which are big numbers for them. In fact, that's 54 over 150. And they look at me and go, I don't know what goes in there. So instead of waiting to the end, do it as soon as you can. It makes it easier on our students. So parents, that's everything for fractions. Thank you for your time and your patience with my videos. If you should need anything, please just give me an email. Otherwise, have a nice evening, and until next time, have a great time.